Hey, Brian, you're an insecure cuck.
Okay, thank you. So no, don't hang up on him.
You're fair.
Don't hang up on him. So Jesse, I'm happy to have a conversation with you, but we're live on the radio, so please watch your language. Give me an example of something that you think I do or I have done on the air, something that I've said that would lead you to believe that I am a very insecure person. Go right ahead.
You're like, I'm not insecure. I'm really secure.
So I'm an insecure.
Dude, come on, dude.
Okay, got you. So your one example that you gave me. Hold on. Your one example that you gave me, Jesse. I'm on the air 10 hours a week, by the way. And the one, hold on. Yeah, 2 hours times 5, dummy. That's 10 hours, douchebag. So the one example that you could give that you think I'm an insecure person is because on the air just now, I just said I'm not.
Well,
insecure.
So Jesse, it was a comparative statement. Brian was not talking about himself directly, trying to make a statement. He was comparing himself to Andrew Wilson, who's an insecure person.
Exactly.
And he was, and the context was that he was trying to explain that he was not like him.
Jesse, you're not going to disrespect.
You got to listen.
You're not going to disrespect my co-host because he has more courage in his pinky than you have in your whole insecure body.
I'm just trying to explain to him that it was not an affirmative comment. It was a response. It was a comparative comment.
Jesse, what is it like living your life with Jesse? What is it like? Jesse, shut up. What is it like living your life with a micro? What is it like living your life with a micro penis? What is that like, Jesse?
He might be the schniz gobbler of the day.
Yeah, exactly. Jesse, do you have any other examples? Do you have any other examples, Jesse? Other than me saying I'm not insecure.
Somebody in the chat is saying it's Dan.
Yeah. Jesse,
Dan the Leonard fan.
What's up, chat?
Hold on, Jesse.
What's up, chat?
Jesse.
Is that Dan the Leonard fan?
Okay, so
oh my God,
Jesse, are you going to give me another example, or is that the only example? Whatever his name is, I don't care what his name is.
The old Dan the Leonard fan?
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care what his name is. Jesse, we have
talk
one
about
more,
insecure. Oh my God,
Jesse, we have one more minute here. Are you going to give me an actual example, or is that all you got for us today, Jesse? Another stupid ad hominem attack, or what is it, Jesse? Anything?
That's not ad hominem.
Okay, so give me an example. So give me an example.
Anytime anyone offered you any constructive criticism, like what Herb was saying, you pretend to not understand what Patrick was saying.
Oh my God, it was. I couldn't even understand what he was talking about. Stupid. Dan,
Jesse, hold on, Jesse. That was not constructive criticism. Okay, constructive criticism would be next time you call into a show, make a point so you don't sound like you have an IQ of 20. What Herb did was he called in. He didn't understand what licking sniz was to begin with, and he also didn't understand that wasn't the debate that I was in. That was a different situation. So thank you for embarrassing yourself. I appreciate the phone call, and please do something about that micro.
Can we send Dan a bill for giving him psychological therapy today on the air?
Very insecure guy that just called into the show. I think he's very insecure because he said he's secure. Great point, sir. Great point. You're very intelligent.
And by the way, I'm not insecure.
Leonard, thank you so much for
having me.
You're such an insecure person for saying you're very secure. What if somebody is depressed and wants to kill themselves on a Monday? They should wait till Sunday to go to church? You're the dumbest person in the history of this show that has ever called in. Go to church and go F yourself.
Correct you on a couple things from yesterday's show when you guys were talking about weapons of war, assault rifles, and whatnot. Columbine did happen actually during that assault rifles ban, right? So that took place in 94 to 2004. Columbine happened in 99, so it wasn't in the 80s that we had an assault rifles ban, number one.
Thank you. I'm so happy that, well, let's go one at a time here. I'm so happy that I have a MAGA fact checker, so I appreciate that. So, Patrick, even if that is the case,
well, okay,
Patrick, hold on, Patrick,
calling them out when they're actually wrong about it.
Patrick, that was a very small part of the conversation. I also named what took place in the shooting in Las Vegas. I named what took place, the shooter in Buffalo, the Texas El Paso shooter. So there's plenty of other examples you can give. If Columbine is not in that time frame, then okay, but it still doesn't change my opinion as I listed all the other huge mass shootings that took place in this country. And I believe you live, I don't know where you live, I don't even remember, but all the stuff that I brought up, the mass shootings, the same types of weaponry were used. So I would hope that you would be smart enough to understand the point that I was trying to make. I'm not sure you are. Even if that is the case when it comes to Columbine, the same weapons were still used. But here's the bottom line, Patrick. When that assault weapons ban was put in place and then fizzled out, it was fizzled out by Republicans. Now let me explain something to you and why I bring that up. Because gun violence went down when that assault weapons ban was put in place. And then when it was fizzled out, gun violence went back up. So while you can fact check me on Columbine, the facts and my premise of the argument still remains the same. These are the certain types of weapons that are used in some of the biggest mass shootings in the country. Republicans refuse to do nothing about it except say that more guns make us safer. And my opinion still stands very strong. Now, if you have some solutions that you would like to share on the gun violence issue, I would be happy to listen to those instead of nitpicking and talking about things that you're referring to. What are your solutions? We have way too many people that are dying in this country.
It sounds like you're not indifferent about assault rifles, weapons of war.
I have listed. Okay.
The other day,
so that's not a solution. Patrick, I will explain myself again, but I noticed that you didn't bring up any solutions. You continue to try to criticize me. I've given 6 or 7 solutions. I will say today, and I ask you respectfully, Patrick, if you could take all that MAGA wax out of your ears for one moment and listen to me, because I've listed 5 or 6 things for years, and I'm going to list them again. The reason why I said I'm indifferent to an assault weapons ban is the same reason I told you yesterday, which is I think there are other things we can do immediately. An assault weapons ban would be very difficult to execute. I have said that the age should be 18 to 21. I have also said there should be a mandatory training class for individuals. I don't care how old you are. Hold on. Brian. Okay, so we haven't heard yours. Okay, so give me yours.
Well, the other thing I want to...
Nope. Give me your solutions to gun violence. Go. You're sick of hearing mine? Let's hear Patrick's. Go.
Well, Democrat mayors are a big problem of it.
Okay, so your solution to all the gun violence is getting rid of Democrat mayors? That's not a serious solution. Give me a solution, Patrick. Give me a policy solution.
Why don't Republican mayors have the crime rate that Democrat mayors do?
A solution is not a question. You said you're sick of...
Yesterday you said they should be sending the National Guard to Republican mayor cities. What Republican mayor has a higher crime rate than Democrats?
Patrick,
give me one. You said there were many.
Patrick,
give me one.
Patrick, okay, I'll answer
Give me one.
I'll answer your question, even though for the 5th time you haven't answered mine. I asked you for solutions. You haven't given me one. I will still answer. I don't care whether he goes into cities that are led by Republicans or Democrats. What I do care about...
that's
you don't know how to listen.
That's not what you said
yesterday.
I
said yesterday, it's so difficult to have a conversation with you. What I said yesterday was he's bringing them into cities with Democrat mayors, but what he's not doing is bringing the troops into cities per capita with the highest death rates in murder, which is Memphis.
With Republican mayors.
Which is Memphis.
There's many.
Yes, and there are many that the crime rate is much higher than it is in D.C. I listed them yesterday.
Republican mayors?
I listed them.
Name me one.
Okay, Patrick.
Name me one with a Republican mayor.
Patrick. I need you to stop talking now for a moment. I listed the cities yesterday. I'm not going to list them again.
With Republican mayors?
Patrick,
give me one.
Patrick, I've now answered your question multiple times. You're not smart enough to understand, but now I want to ask you again, because you said you are sick of me bringing up some of solutions that I think would lower gun violence. You haven't given me one. So now I ask you again. Since you wanted to call into the show and bring and talk about guns, name me several solutions that you think would lower gun violence in this country. Go ahead, Patrick. I'll give you I've asked you now for a 5th time, and it's the last time I'm going to ask you. Don't be a coward. Answer the question.
So what city has a Republican mayor with a higher crime rate?
Pot him down again. You see, these are the problem with these people like MAGA Patrick. Now, when I say these people, I want to be very specific. These are middle-aged, uneducated, and ill-informed white people. Patrick is one of them. Patrick, you're still on the line. You called into the show talking about gun control because you wanted to fact-check me on something. But you see, Patrick, the overall point that I was trying to make yesterday, which clearly you're not smart enough to understand, so I'll try to explain it, and I'm still not sure you'll understand it. In many mass shootings in this country, similar weapons are used. I mentioned the shooting in Las Vegas, Buffalo, New York, for example, Uvalde, Texas, and others. Okay? I brought that up as a point.
You're not different about it.
Patrick, I need you to listen. I've named 4 or 5 solutions other than an assault weapons ban that I think would be effective in saving lives. If you're going to call into this show and bring up guns, which is what you brought up, and you said, Patrick, I'm not done yet. I need you to listen. Patrick, I need you to listen. Patrick, pot him all the way down. He's not. See, this is why Patrick doesn't know what I say on my show, because he's probably talking the whole time. Patrick, you just said, he's still talking, this Nimrod. Patrick, you just said, quote, you're sick of me talking about solutions. That's the problem with people like you. Donald Trump has complained about Obamacare for 9 years. He has no health care solution. You're just like Donald Trump. Now, I don't know if you're a pedophile. Excuse me. I don't know if you're in the Epstein files. I'm now going to ask for a sixth time. You brought up guns to start this call. I'm now asking you for a sixth time because you said you're sick of me talking about solutions, which is a very stupid thing to say because we need some new ideas and solutions so people don't get gunned down every day at the rate that they are. So now I ask you for a sixth time. This has nothing to do with me. This has nothing to do with party affiliation. It has to do with being a human being. Can you name me at least several things that you think would work that maybe Republicans and Democrats could sit at the table and compromise on that could save lives when it comes to gun violence? Now, I would like to hear some of your solutions, and let's see if you're smart enough to come up with three. Go ahead, Patrick.
Well, I'm smart enough to understand that morality is not legislated.
Morality,
your solution,
morality is not, excuse me, Patrick, morality is not a solution. Example.
Stopping
pot him down. You just had an opportunity to answer, and you didn't give me an answer. The reason why we have speed limits on the roadways is not necessarily morality. It's just simply because when people speed, there's a higher risk of accidents. And when accidents happen, people could get hurt or killed, innocent people. Okay? That's why we have laws put on the books to protect the American people in some situations like speeding. So now I'm going to ask you for the seventh time. And the answer is not morality because that is not a policy, okay? You are not allowed in many states and many parts of the world to own a grenade because they're dangerous and you don't need a grenade to defend yourself. There are many places where, for example, machine guns are not legal. So now I ask you for the seventh time, you dope, give me three valid solutions from Patrick, MAGA Patrick, that you think would help save lives in this country. It's the last time I'm going to ask you because if you don't have a solution but you want to bitch to me about my issues with weapons of war or guns, and you don't have any solutions for yourself, you sound like every MAGA dope in this country that complains about Obamacare but yet doesn't have a replacement plan. So, for the last time, MAGA Patrick, give me several solutions that you think could work in saving lives in this country when it comes to guns. Go ahead. I'm putting you on the spot again. Don't give me a stupid answer.
Yeah, so first I would look at the numbers and break them down and figure out, okay, where are these most concentrated incidents? Where do you find these acts of violence and homicide? Where do you find them most frequently occurring? First, you account for the majority of them are suicides. So we have an issue with suicide, so you have to address that. You never really
How do you address that? How do you address that? How do you address it? How do you address it?
You address that. Well, we're talking about guns right now.
Okay, hold on. We're talking about Patrick. I'm going to interrupt you. Okay, you started off good there, even though I might disagree with you. That's okay. You think suicide, which I would agree with you. It is a huge problem in this country, and a lot of people.
It's the majority of gun violence every year.
Patrick, you got to listen to me now. You were off to a good start there, even though it took you 15 minutes. So let's talk about suicide. I agree with you. There are way too many people in this country that take their own lives with a gun. So I think you would agree with me, Patrick, that if you are suicide,
is that an act of violence?
Patrick,
is that an act of violence?
Patrick, I need you to listen.
It's gun violence.
Patrick,
is that an act of violence?
Patrick,
though?
it is a death by the hands of somebody with a gun. I need you to pay attention because we're going to get somewhere with this. Patrick, please, I need you to listen.
But is that an act of violence,
Patrick,
Brian? It's a simple question.
Patrick,
there
are some situations.
Is that an act of violence?
There are some
situations. Yes.
Patrick,
say yes.
Patrick,
it's an act of violence. Okay.
Patrick, in some cases it could be an act of violence because in some cases some people decide to do shootouts with police officers and they might not kill anybody, but then they take their own life. So in some instances, yes, it is violence. So Patrick, a lot of people that are suicidal are mentally ill. How do we help those people that are mentally ill, Patrick? How do we do that? How do we help those people?
Are people that commit suicide or homicides mentally ill too? Wouldn't you say that they're
I think absolutely.
Too?
But please answer my question, right? Patrick. Please answer my question. How do we help those people that are mentally ill, whether it's a homicide or whether it's suicide?
Well, how do we help those people? Don't come from the government. They come from your local community.
Okay,
they come from your church.
So hold on.
They come from your local.
All right, so let's go with that. So if you're really mentally ill and you're suffering, hold on. If you're mentally ill, according to Patrick, and you suffer from severe depression, you want to take your life, don't see someone that is a professional, a medical professional, just go to church. That's your solution, Patrick? So you think everybody that wants to kill themselves should just go to church and don't get professional help? Is that your opinion, Patrick? Because you sound like the dumbest person on the planet. Tell me,
well,
is
you
that
recognize the majority of homeless people and have been institutionalized
Patrick?
and probably came through
all right.
the
so policy,
system,
so policy,
the system, right?
right. So policy-wise,
faith in our
hold on,
government system?
hold on,
Do you
hold
want
on,
to be
Patrick. So
through
you
the
don't
system?
you
It's
don't believe in
terrible.
medical professionals that are
And
helping?
the results,
Patrick,
the results are awful. They speak
Patrick,
for themselves.
don't
Look
talk
at the
to me.
people on the street.
Don't talk to me about results when you have no idea what you're talking about. So, Patrick, if you are mentally ill and you are a depressed individual, you don't think you should get medical help. You don't think you should see a therapist or a psychologist or anybody.
Okay, simple. Open up asylums, sane asylums again. Simple solution.
Okay,
How's that? Why don't we
Patrick.
have those anymore?
Okay, so first of all,
Simple.
Okay,
That's a good solution.
yeah,
If you
and
care
guess
about
what?
these people, put
And
them
where
in a-
does that money
put them
come
in a
from?
system.
And when here's what I was getting at, Patrick. When I brought this up, here's what I was trying to get at. Let's see if you're smart enough to
That could be
understand.
big business,
Patrick,
man. The hospitals would
Patrick,
jump on that,
Patrick.
man.
Here's what I was trying to explain to you, and the reason why I brought up those that are suicidal. There is one party that is trying to allocate more money to help people that are mentally ill, whether they're people that are going to commit a homicide or people that are suicidal. And then there's another party that you are affiliated with that do not want to allocate more funds to open up, as you said, mental asylums, which it sounds like you should be admitted to one of those. That's the Republican Party. You see, Patrick,
Great argument, Brian. It's a great argument,
No, and
buddy.
you're right. It's a
Good.
great argument when I hear you say when you're mentally ill and you're thinking of killing yourself, just go to church. You are the dumbest person that has ever called into the show. That is the dumbest explanation I have ever heard in my life. You are a complete imbecile. If somebody wants to take their own life or somebody is thinking of harming somebody else and or themselves, for you to say the answer is just go listen to a priest and go to church, talk about God, makes you an absolute imbecile. The reason why I was bringing this up is because you need professional help. A priest is not a professional in helping you if you're suicidal, okay? God is not going to help you if you need immediate help. And immediate help meaning professional help. What if somebody is depressed and wants to kill themselves on a Monday? They should wait till Sunday to go to church? You're the dumbest person in the history of this show that has ever called in. Go to church and go F yourself. I think we should have all these troops surrounding your home because I think I recognize your voice from the show To Catch a Predator. Have a nice day, ma'am.
Merry Christmas, everybody. And by the way, I just wanted to let you know my pronouns are he, they.
Hi, Doug.
And
I thought his name
haven't
was
got
Doug.
that memo. Are we still doing that stuff? I didn't.
Hi,
get the memo.
Clarence.
All right, hold on a second. I don't know why Democrat
This is
MAGA.
Clarence.
I don't know why Democrat MAGA starts off the phone call. He wonders why I get frustrated and why I abuse him every day. This is why. What do you? Why? No. You called in the. Did he just hang up the phone?
No, I'm still here.
Okay.
I'm still here.
Okay. You called in the other day and you said Democrats think saying Merry Christmas is racist. And
What?
this was played on an XM satellite show, a show that I did the other day. I was a guest, and you sounded really stupid. I'm sorry.
Really?
Here's why. When you make a claim
What
like
the
that, just
hell?
because a few people might say it on social media doesn't mean the entire Democrat Party says it. I asked you to name one prominent person that has ever said that. You said you couldn't recall. So Democrat MAGA, don't start a conversation, my advice to you, by saying something that you cannot prove. And when you start talking about pronouns, which, by the way, I could care less about right now.
Because I just want to make sure those racist Republicans don't misgender
All right.
me.
Well, ma'am, here's what I'd like to
anyway,
do, ma'am.
so-
Okay. So my dear, ma'am.
No, it's he, they.
Okay, so Mrs. Democrat MAGA, can you please make a point that's a little
Yes.
Is he a millennial? Are you a millennial?
make a point,
No,
Democrat. I don't
come
care.
on. Okay, so
Make a
the
point.
reason I'm calling is, I was so
Please.
happy that you finally agreed with Herb. It was so awesome that you agreed with Herb that the National Guard in Washington, D.C. is a great thing bringing down crime. I almost crashed my Lamborghini
I never
into
said,
a ditch.
okay, so once again, you're mischaracterizing what I said. I never once have said it's quote, that's the problem. You don't listen. You make a claim, now you listen, and I'm going to refute what you just said.
And then
I
refute
never-
what you refute.
Okay, well, that'll be my decision because
Does
it's
he
my
wanna be
show
called-
and not yours. I never said it was a good thing that he's calling in the troops to these cities. What I said was actually the obvious. It's putting a Band-Aid on a problem throughout the country. What do I mean by that? And I said this in the call, and it's mesmerizing. You don't know how to understand or listen to my points. When they leave, whether it be DC or Chicago, the crime rate will go back up. And it's hard for me to have a conversation with somebody that doesn't seem to understand.
Brian, quick comment.
Go ahead.
It's called a crime displacement theory.
Exactly.
Just so you know.
And I try.
So the theory is,
Yeah.
just to expand a little bit, the theory is you can overwhelm an area with zero tolerance and you would displace the crime. But you know what happens as soon as they leave, as soon as they have another duty? Guess what happens? Do you know what do you want to be called? They or he? She?
Call him her.
They?
Yeah, call him her.
No, he,
Them?
they.
Is it them?
Ma'am.
They.
Just call him ma'am.
They.
Who
But
cares?
anyway,
They.
but here's my so Brian made the analogy of pick a busy street in Las Vegas where people are speeding all the time, and police put up a speed trap. And for a month, nobody speeds on that street. It takes all the speeders off the road, that type of thing. And then Brian said, and after a month, the police go away and everyone speeds again.
That's true.
So my.
Is that not true?
So you're embarrassed.
Mrs. Ma'am,
Okay,
ma'am, is that not
but
true,
here's
ma'am?
the thing.
They.
Ma'am, is that not true?
Thing.
Answer
So
the question.
Democrats-
Is that not true? Yes or no?
That's 100% true.
Okay,
But-
thank you.
So the Democrats now just shrug their shoulders and say, well, they're just going to speed anyway. Might as well not do nothing. At least Trump
No
is
one said
fine.
that. No one said that. No,
Nobody
you
said
name
that.
one
He said there
person
should be no
who has
truth.
said that.
Now,
Name
let me ask
one
you-
person, one prominent figure that has said that.
Yeah,
that is a
Well,
lie.
let me
That's
ask- I'm still
unethical.
finishing my sentence. Would you say that troops in D.C., I don't know, maybe they've been there a month. Would you say, and there's no way to prove for sure, that having them there possibly stopped 10 murders? Yes or no?
You can't.
We don't know for sure.
You can't
Such a
base
stupid
stats on.
statement.
You know, during Christmas we used to
but
park
if
a
it
police
did-
car
Let me
outside of
ask-
Walmart.
Okay, so let me ask
stop
you.
crime, but you can't prove
I've
it.
let this guy,
Yes or no?
Democrat MAGA, can you please explain
That
to me
makes-
if you
stupid.
do you think that why didn't Donald Trump go after and bring out the troops to the most dangerous cities per capita in this country? Can you please explain to me why it was DC and Chicago?
Tell me what's a more dangerous city?
Memphis.
What?
Memphis.
Memphis?
Just gave you an
Memphis,
example.
I think was on the radar. He did talk about that.
I talked
hold
about
on,
it.
hold on.
He
The-
did-
hold on. The question wasn't whether the president talks about it. I need you to pay attention. If, in fact, Donald Trump cares about crime in this country, he wants to lower the crime in some of the dangerous cities in America, why didn't he
well,
stop? Hold on.
those
Here
are
comes the
dangerous cities or
question.
not?
Here comes the question. Wait for it. Why didn't he start with the most dangerous cities in the country? Could it be possible he just wanted to go to the Democrat cities with black mayors? Chicago. Can you please explain to me why? Why?
I would say in Chicago because the people are begging. Brand Johnson has a 6% approval rating. Everything. he
Okay,
does
so
is
let's
crap.
stop you right there.
People
Let's
are
stop you right there.
People.
Let's stop you right there. So you're defending not sending out the troops to the most dangerous cities, but sending them to Chicago because, quote, people are begging. Do you realize how stupid you
Does
sound?
Memphis have a black mayor?
So I ask you again, it's not people, you don't send troops out to cities because allegedly people are quote unquote begging. And by the way, there's a lot of people in Chicago that are begging them to
And there's a
leave,
lot of people
all right?
begging all over the United States.
I'm going to name you 5 cities right
You-
now. I'm going to name you 5 cities right now. And I wonder if they're begging. Memphis, Detroit, St. Louis, Oakland. I named you 4. Cleveland, another one. Can you please explain to me why he decided to go to Washington, D.C. and Chicago first? If in fact it's about cleaning up and lowering crime in the most dangerous cities, why didn't he send the troops out to those cities? Doesn't it go against everything that you are saying?
D.C. makes perfect sense. It's the capital of the United States.
Oh, because it's the
Dignitaries from
capital.
around
Okay,
the world
that
go
makes a
there.
lot
It
of
must
sense.
be safe.
That makes a lot of
That-
sense.
So,
So let's not send out.
Going to
So
Cleveland?
hold on. So
people
hold on.
around the world-
So local law enforcement, the mayor said, we don't need you here. But because they're quote unquote, by your standard, the capital, we're going to put troops out to Washington, D.C. first because it's labeled the capital, but we're not going to throw out those troops
Not
to the most
labeled the
dangerous.
capital. It is the capital.
Okay, so because it's the capital, we are going to. Do you realize how stupid you sound? We're not going to go into
Well,
the
let me
most
ask you this.
dangerous cities. We're going to go into
What is
the
the
Can I ask him a
downside of
question?
having them there?
Clarence, can I
Let
ask
me
you a
just
question?
ask you-
I'm sorry, can I
Yeah,
ask you a question?
Sure.
Do you feel that, I mean, you don't have to answer, but do you feel that you're racist? Because I'm getting a racist vibe from
Of
you.
course he is.
No.
No, not at all.
Do you believe that
But let me
black
ask you-
people and minorities have the same rights and same opportunities in America as everyone else?
They have the exact same rights. There's not one law that discriminates a black person from a white person. We all
Right,
have
and
the
you
exact
believe
same
they
rights.
should have those
And
rights,
law.
correct?
we should have those, you said?
Yeah, should
Yeah, of
minorities have the same abilities and the same?
And they all have the exact same rights and laws in this country. A black person, I can't do anything a black person can't do, and vice versa.
Okay, so you're saying that you're not racist, but you don't see the analogy of sending troops into cities that are predominantly black and have black mayors? You don't see the analogy?
So let me just go with these. What's the downside? So if I don't commit any crimes and I'm walking around and I see a hardworking guy with the national, and I say hello, walk by, what's the downside?
The downside is it seems
crime?
racist. That's the downside. It seems like it's
opinion,
targeting certain communities, and we all know that Trump has been accused hundreds of times of being
let me ask
racist.
you this. If you're in that community, wouldn't you, let's just say you're a minority in that community. Would you be happy that, I'm like, if I was a minority in that community, I'd be like, wow, well,
here's how I feel about that question, Dave.
Down.
Here's how I feel about that question. I would never compare myself to a person with black skin because I've never been hated for the color of my skin. And I can't imagine what it's like to get up every day and be a smart, productive person and a family man or a family woman and be a good person in society and have people hate you just because you happen to have dark skin, which, by the way, you can't do anything about that. You're born that way.
Let me just say this to Miss Democrat MAGA. Here's what I think Donald Trump should do. I would deploy all the troops into your home to inspect your hard drive. That's what I think they should do. I think we should have all these troops surrounding your home because I think I recognize your voice from the show To Catch a Predator. Have a nice day, ma'am. And if you're going to call back, please try to bring up some better points because you are ridiculous.
You need to work on it.
You are ridiculous.
Okay.